like the balance that they had in race.
Casey Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there.
To victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
It's Fantasy Friday on MRN.com as the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series heads to the penultimate race. Yes, I said it. Put it in
That's
the
one.
box.
That's one.
Penultimate race
That's two.
of the season. We go to Phoenix, and we'll go to Homestead next week. He's Robbie Mays. I'm Tyler Burnett. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. Robbie, we have two more races, one more race until the championship, and we already have three guys locked in.
So last week at Texas was the penultimate race of the round of 8. I'm literally going to keep track. And Kevin Harvick did Kevin Harvick things in the playoffs, and now he's going to Homestead. And Tyler, I would say Kevin Harvick has probably been one of the more underrated drivers in 2017. One of the drivers that I did not necessarily expect would make it to the championship for Homestead Miami Speedway. But we know two of the guys that are going, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., have been the class of the field all year. So it's Harvick, it's Busch, it's Truex, and one more driver will get added Sunday in the penultimate race of the season at Phoenix.
Maybe it's underrated for you because you've struggled in fantasy all year. Maybe that's why you think he's been underrated.
I want to slap you right now.
I feel like Harvick flipped the switch in Charlotte. I feel like that's kind of where their mile-and-a-half program took an uptick, and then I wasn't surprised to see him win in Texas. I mean, my top three going into the weekend were Martin Truex Jr., unfortunately Kyle Busch, who had problems all day, and just what did he have, a flat tire on lap 1 or something?
So he got loose in turn 1, lap 1, and got into Brad Keselowski. And they both came to pit road on lap 2. So basically, Brad was able to recover. Kyle had damage to the right front. He was never really able to get back up there, but Brad obviously had a 5th place run. Going back to Harvick for a second, Charlotte, it seemed like they picked up their game, and they led over 100 laps that day. Started up front, finished up front. Finished second at Kansas a couple of weeks ago. So I'm not surprised that their mile-and-a-half program that he won. I'm saying the last month they've been up, but for the majority of the season they were not as good as they normally have been.
Coming up on the show today, Winston Kelley, Executive Director of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. He'll join us. He'll be in Phoenix this weekend. He'll also be in Homestead, so he'll be on the Motor Racing Network the next 2 weeks working on pit road. He'll be joining us. We'll play, Under the Rock?
Yeah.
Something, I'll probably get hit by it. I mean, last week I got kind of lucky.
Last week we'll talk about it in later on in the show.
Bonanza, baby.
We'll talk about it later.
Sideswipe. What else we got? Emojis. Other things.
Yeah.
All coming your way.
You know the deal. It's week 37.
On the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
It's almost the most refreshing time of the day. Busch O'Clock, a time for relaxing and unwinding with friends and family over a crisp, cold Busch beer. Busch's roots are in racing, but whether you're enjoying the race or going fishing, nothing is better when it's time to relax with a crisp, cold Busch. It's Busch O'Clock, so grab a 6-pack of Busch beer for the cooler, start the grill, and relax. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Busch Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
And that you're supposed to be having fun.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
The Superman colors with Jimmy Johnson.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
So I have to challenge myself more to stay balanced with my personal and professional life.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
Hey everybody, this is Mike Bagley. Join me every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. This 1-hour interactive show gives you an inside look at your favorite NASCAR drivers.
I've always firmly believed if I'm worried about getting hurt, I need to step down.
As well as give you a chance to talk with them one-on-one.
My question for Chase is, well, first of all, I'm a huge fan, Chase.
Well, thanks. Hey, Ryan, I just want to congratulate you on your first one.
Oh, I am? Oh, my gosh. Hi.
It's NASCAR Live every Tuesday at 7 Eastern on the Motor Racing Network.
Yay or nay, go or stay. It's time for the Inside Line to sideswipe the competition. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
All right, heading to Phoenix this week. It's time to swipe it up here on Sideswipe. You've been doing all right with Sideswipe the home game?
No. I'm losing Sideswipe the real game and Sideswipe the home game.
All right, let's play. What do we got, Daryl?
Daryl, who's up first?
Eric Jones.
I'll go first since you went first last week.
Go ahead.
I'll
That's
take
fine with me.
I'll take Eric Jones. All right, so once upon a time, Eric Jones made a start here in the Camping World Truck Series, and he won. And ever since then, he has been really strong at Phoenix Raceway. Came here in the springtime. Stop yawning. You're going to make me yawn. Eric Jones made his first start in the Cup Series here in the spring, and he finished in the 8th spot. So obviously he's figured things out here in the Cup car here at Phoenix. So I think Eric Jones is, the way they've been running recently, not great. If they qualify in the top 10, no. If he qualifies poorly, like last week we saw a lot of cars at Texas not be able to get through inspection for qualifying. So if Eric Jones starts outside of the top 20, I think he's a good option.
Yeah, he's not going to.
He's not going to. So that being the case, I'm going to swipe no on Eric Jones. I don't think the value is worth your return there.
Yeah, qualifying is at 6:30 p.m. Eastern tonight on MRN.com. You can listen, and Eric Jones will not qualify out of the top 20 if he does qualify. Now, however, he doesn't get through inspection, he might be at the back of the field. We don't know. So you're saying that since Eric Jones finished 8th in one race he had at Phoenix, that he's now figured it out?
Well, he was also 19th here back about 3 years ago. I think he was running for somebody, for Kyle Busch maybe, or Matt Kenseth.
Well, no.
It was Kenseth.
Yeah. Kenseth suspension.
But still, though, he runs well here in the Xfinity Series. He runs well here in the truck. I think this is a good track for him. But again, I'm swiping no.
Oh, you're swiping no?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's my next?
Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin. I was asked this week who I thought had the best chance to win and get in to the playoffs, to the championship round. Brad Keselowski does not need to necessarily win to get in. However, he's plus 14, something like that?
He's plus 19 points.
Plus 19?
Yeah.
I think Denny Hamlin probably has to win. I think he probably has the best chance to win just because he is a great short track racer. Joe Gibbs Racing has, these tracks figured out. Kyle Busch was dominant the last time we went there, 117 laps led. So I think Hamlin probably has the best chance to win of the guys who are not locked in the playoffs already. 10th in the spring, 7th last fall. Before that, finished 3rd and 8th. If he's fast in practice, I will get on board with Denny Hamlin. So I'll swipe right on Denny Hamlin. I think there are better options, though, potentially at the top of the leaderboard.
I agree with you. One thing about Toyota has not won at Phoenix in the last 10 races. Their last win here was Denny Hamlin in the spring of 2012. That was 11 races ago, although Kyle Busch in the springtime probably was going to win the race until the late caution, which jumbled up the running order. But I'll agree, swiping right on Denny Hamlin.
Well, Kevin Harvick's won, 6 of those that you talked about. So,
who's next?
Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. All right, so I know that I want Ricky Stenhouse to have a good run. And I felt in the spring he had a decent car. I just don't know about that team right now. They made the playoffs, but they were not that great in the playoffs the last few weeks. He's been up, he's been down. I'm swiping no on Ricky Stenhouse. I don't think that that's a good investment this weekend. I think there's some better options in his price range.
You're not a believer in the 4th place finish in the spring for Ricky Stenhouse?
No.
But
boy, you get...
But you're a believer in Eric Jones' 8th place finish, but not a 4th place finish.
I believe I swiped no on both of my drivers today.
Stenhouse, okay. I'm on board with you. I think that if he qualifies well, which he qualified well last week at Texas,
yes,
and he wasn't a great start, I
Correct.
feel like if he qualifies well again in Phoenix, he's probably not a good start. If he qualifies at the back, sure, I'll get on board with him. All right, what do we got?
Ryan Newman.
Winner, the last time we were there in the spring, fuel mileage, no, not a fuel mileage race, pit strategy.
Pit strategy. Yeah,
no tires?
He stayed out when the leaders pitted.
I'm a big no on Ryan Newman. What's the chances that we have another pit strategy like that and he stays out and wins this thing? I'm not sure. However, he's been, decent at Phoenix over the years. 12th, before that, then he wrecked. Then 11th and 3rd, and I believe that the 11th place finish is when he moved Kyle Larson to advance into the championship. Yeah, I'm not on Ryan Newman's plan this week. I'm swiping no.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I don't think that they're in the spring. I'm not going to say it was a fluke win because none of these wins are flukes,
No.
but I don't think you're going to see the same thing happen again, and he just hasn't been good historically over the last handful of races at Phoenix, so I'm going to agree no and with Ryan Newman. Who's my last one?
Jamie McMurray.
Jamie McMurray. Something happened to the Ganassi cars after Charlotte. Kyle Larson had a good day. Jamie McMurray had a good day at Charlotte. And ever since then, they have just not been good. Kyle Larson has 3 straight DNFs. Jamie McMurray, I've not been impressed with anything they've done. So since the round of 12 started, Chip Ganassi Racing has struggled. There's no beating around the bush. I'm swiping no on Jamie McMurray, although I want to see him up front. I feel like this track kind of lends itself to Jamie McMurray's driving style. I just don't see him being a good option this weekend. I think there are a ton of other options. And I know you probably got the stat where he finished in the spring. I don't care where he finished in the spring. I just don't think Jamie McMurray is a good choice. So I'm swiping no on Jamie McMurray.
Where did he finish?
15th.
15th.
Yeah.
Larson,
Larson was second in the spring.
I don't understand why you say they haven't been good since Charlotte. He was, in my opinion, the best car last week at Texas until he wrecked. But he's just aggressively racing and he gets into the wall, and that's what causes it. It's not because he doesn't have a good car.
Until he wrecked. He's having bad luck.
Okay, so
luck is not on his side right now.
All of Chip Ganassi Racing is now having bad luck because Larson is having bad luck, and now Jamie Mack is going to have bad luck because he's Chip Ganassi Racing.
Shut up. Move on.
Who's
next
this week?
Last one, Brad Keselowski.
Great short track racing program right now. 5th in the spring. He was good at Martinsville. Probably a potential winning car at Martinsville if his teammate pits. Anyways, Keselowski was 5th in the spring.
Yep.
He's probably the second best chance you have of a guy who's not locked in yet to win at Phoenix. However, he's never won at Phoenix. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Wow. Well, I didn't even look that up. I was just assuming that. I'll swipe right on Keselowski. I think he could be a potential good pick this week. He's mentioned here recently that the Penske cars are better at the short tracks and the restrictor plate tracks because you don't need as much aero. However, he was good at Texas, so
he was.
I think he advances to the championship. I think he's the 4th guy that gets in. Whether he wins or not, I'm not sure, but I think he advances.
He's been top 10 in 5 of the last 7 races at Phoenix. He was 5th in the spring. I agree with you, swiping right on the 2 car this weekend.
All right, what do we got here? Emojis.
Cactus. Who's going to be a thorn in somebody's side this weekend?
Thorn in someone's side. Yeah. Kevin Harvick. Worst finish in the last 5 races at Phoenix, a 6th place finish. He hasn't won there since the spring of 2016, which seems like an eternity ago, but they have no pressure.
Nope. I agree. Kevin Harvick. All right. Who's next?
Sun? Is that the next one? Oh, little sunshine.
Sunshine.
Who's going to bring a little sunshine to their dreadful season?
I mean, obviously, option 1 would be Dale Jr. because he's won here 3 times. I don't think he's going to win this weekend, though.
One was a rain delay.
One was a rain. The other 2 were legitimate.
I'm going to say Kurt Busch.
Okay.
Had a battery issue that was reoccurring in the spring, finished 25th, but before that he has top 10s in the last 4 races. 5th, 7th, 6th, 5th. I think Kurt Busch gets another top 10 this week, and I think they get their season righted. You know?
I'm going to throw out Ryan Blaney.
Okay.
I think they've been up and down all year. He got the win at Pocono, has really struggled since then. He's had a good season. I think he could be a ray of sunshine this weekend.
Winston Kelley is next.
Who is always a ray of sunshine.
Yeah, he's always a ray of sunshine, especially at noon before practice on a Friday in Phoenix. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
It's almost Busch o'clock. A time for relaxing and unwinding with a crisp, cold Busch beer. It's the most refreshing time of the day. Wait for it. 3, 2, 1. Busch. Crisp, cold Busch. Enjoy responsibly. Busch Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
It's almost the most refreshing time of the day. Busch O'Clock, a time for relaxing and unwinding with friends and family over a crisp, cold Busch beer. Busch's roots are in racing, but whether you're enjoying the race or going fishing, nothing is better when it's time to relax with a crisp, cold Busch. It's Busch O'Clock. So grab a 6-pack of Busch beer for the cooler, start the grill, and relax. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Busch Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Let's talk more fantasy racing on the Inside Line. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
Practice coming up at 1 p.m. Eastern time from Phoenix, and then we'll have qualifying at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And the Lucas Oil 150 for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, their last chance to make it to the Final Four at Homestead. That's at 8 p.m. On the broadcast for at least the truck race, I know Winston Kelley, the executive director of the NASCAR Hall of Fame, has joined us. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing today, this morning, this afternoon, whatever time it is?
I don't know. When we go to the West Coast, I never remember what time it is, and Arizona doesn't do daylight savings either, so that makes it even more confusing.
Yeah, I wish we didn't do it. Going to Phoenix, first I wanted to get your opinion on something before we do that. Matt Kenseth announced this week that he doesn't have a ride next year, and potentially he's not going to be in the Cup Series next year. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I kind of do want to put you on the spot. Do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
I think so. When you look at his numbers in relation to others who are currently in the Hall of Fame, he's got more wins than a number of them with 38, and some are in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and deservedly so, like a Fireball Roberts and Fred Lorenzens with less wins and no championships. So I think there's no question that Matt Kenseth will go into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I think the question will become, is he an automatic lock on the first ballot? And that's really going to boil down to who was on the ballot that year. His numbers would suggest that he would be, but we'll just have to see how it shakes out. But I will be shocked if he's not in very early, if not the very first year.
Yeah, Winston will talk to Matt in our pre-race show on Sunday. You can hear that on your local affiliate or on MRN.com.
Yeah. Winston, Matt Kenseth drives a Toyota. Toyotas have won the majority of the races in the playoffs this year between Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch. But Toyota has not won at Phoenix in 11 races since the spring of 2012. Question is, can they get it done this weekend? And who might that driver be who goes to Victory Lane in a Toyota on Sunday?
Well, can they get it done? Absolutely. And if they do, the odds-on favorite, and I'm going to go way out on a limb and say it's going to be either Kyle Busch or Martin Truex Jr. But Martin has only got one top 5 in 23 starts there, and that was a 5th back in 2009. Kyle, on the other hand, has 16 top 10s in just 24 starts, only one win. But if you look at the last 4 races, a couple of fourths, a second and a third, and led 114 laps in the spring. Of course, Ryan Newman winning the race on great pit strategy from Luke Lambert. So those guys would have to be the odds-on favorite. You know, not a far step behind that. Denny Hamlin has run well there, has a win. Matt has run well there. So I think they would have a chance. But yeah, I think Toyotas can definitely get it done. But they're going to have a lot of good, strong competition as well.
No doubt. Whenever we go to Phoenix, and he mentioned the stat that Toyota hasn't won in the last 10 races. That's because Kevin Harvick's won 6 of them. Whenever we go there, we talk about Kevin Harvick. He has no pressure on him going into this weekend, which is actually kind of a rarity because he usually has to go to Phoenix and win the race to make it to the next round, at Homestead. Do you feel like they can be better this week knowing that they have no pressure and the only thing they have to do is win?
I think they can. I think in their case, you look at the last 14 races. You mentioned he's got 7 wins overall, 5 in just the last 14, if my math was right. He has been so strong there, but he and that team perform so well under pressure. So whether or not that'll the fact that they're locked in, whether that will cause them to take some additional risks. And when you get into fantasy racing, that's one of the things I think we're going to have to look at. You got the guys who have run well there, who are in the win and you're in. They may have to go out on a limb and do something unique and that could either pay off or also end up in a 19th or 22nd place finish. So that's one of the things you're going to have to look at from a fantasy racing perspective. But, with how do you bet against Kevin Harvick or not at least have him on your team going to Phoenix?
Winston, we've got 3 drivers locked in. We're going to have 1 spot to fill on Sunday afternoon. Brad Keselowski has it right now. Let's look at some guys who are outside of the top 4 right now. And one name that always used to stick out when we went to Phoenix was Jimmy Johnson. He hasn't been great recently at Phoenix, and he has struggled basically since the middle of the summer this year. Does the 48 have a chance this weekend to get up front? Do you see them potentially maybe doing some pit strategy or something to try to get the win, to try to get them to Homestead next week?
Well, if the 48 is on the racetrack, he has a chance. And I don't mean that to be a smart aleck, but you look at what happened at Miami last year. Had to go to the back of the pack. He had the 4th best of the championship cars. Put himself in a position. Did he get some luck with Joey Logano and Carl Edwards getting in the accident together? Absolutely. But you don't win 83 races by being lucky. You don't win 7 championships by being lucky. You put yourself in that position to win. His last of his 4 wins is back in 2009. Would I put him on my fantasy team? Would I bet on him? No. However, when they're in that position, they have delivered as much as anybody in the history of NASCAR. I think Brad in the position with a 19-point lead, when you look at everybody else, just based on the recent stats, Chase Elliott, who led 106 laps when we were there in the spring and has 2 top 10s in his other 2 races there, performance-wise of late is probably in the best position. But when you have somebody like Jimmy and Chad, they always have a chance, whether they start 40th or they start on the pole. They have a chance, but the odds are certainly stacked against them for all the reasons that you said, Robbie. They just haven't been running as well at Phoenix or this year. So I do think they're going to have to do something a little bit different. I don't think they're going to win just on raw speed.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And we've seen them win races by strategy this year. I mean, and
they've had no business to win races, and they've done that a lot too.
Before we let you go, Winston, and before we head out west, who's your winner this weekend? I'm putting you on the spot again, but who's your winner?
I figured you'd ask that. I think it comes down to Kevin Harvick or Kyle Busch, and just given how Kyle has run more recently at that track and more consistently this year, before they even hit the racetrack, I'd have to go with Kyle Busch. But also realize that my fantasy team this year has not quite been up to par. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, and Kyle Busch kind of contributed to my woes last week.
A lot of people contributed to my woes last week. Winston, it's our next to last show of the year. As always, thanks for being part of the show with us this year. For the off-season folks, the Hall of Fame this winter, what can we come down there and see? What do you guys got going on over the next couple of months?
If you're a kid, you want to come see Lightning McQueen. Our Breakfast with Santa events, December the 16th and 23rd. We had a Christmas tree lighting ceremony the Saturday after November. And then, of course, our Undeck the Hall the day after Christmas, where anybody that buys a ticket can take something off one of the trees, a collectible or tickets to races. And then, of course, our induction ceremony for 2018 is Friday, January the 19th, and tickets are on sale. So invite everybody to come down. Visit us at NASCARHall.com.
Yeah, it's a cool place. You need to get down there and check it out. Winston, Kelley, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon in Phoenix.
Always a pleasure. We'll see you guys in a couple of days.
The executive director of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. He's also the lead pit reporter for the Motor Racing Network, Winston Kelley. We appreciate him coming on. He loves playing fantasy. We have a running tally going on the truck with Winston, our truck driver Steve, and Alex. They picked the winner before each race, and they have a lot of fun with it. So looking forward to the next 2 races with Winston. All right, coming back, what are we doing? Getting hit by a rock?
Yeah.
All right. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show, presented by Hercules Tires.
It's almost Busch O'Clock. A time for relaxing and unwinding with a crisp, cold Busch beer. It's the most refreshing time of the day. Wait for it. 3, 2, 1. Busch. Crisp, cold Busch. Enjoy responsibly. Busch Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcasts elevate your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
One final lap in the Daytona 500. Joey Logano has the point. Junior crosses over.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
It's Rob Tanner, host of America's Tailgate Party, NASCAR USA. Join us every weekend as we get you set for NASCAR racing with 2 hours of the hottest hits in country music. The Motor Racing Network's Woody Kane is here with NASCAR news, and MRN pit reporter Steve Post stopped by to talk a little racing. We'll have features and highlights you can't get anywhere else, so be here each weekend for NASCAR USA on the Motor Racing Network.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Show. We've been expecting you. Here are your hosts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. We're getting ready for the penultimate race weekend of 2017, and that's only 5. I'm disappointed in myself.
Yeah, I haven't done very many.
I'm Robbie Mays. This is Tyler Burnett. Normally, this segment we do Under a Rock or Tyler.
What do you mean
I want to go
normally?
back to last week for a second. Apparently, there were some shenanigans pulled between you and Daryl. You admitted this. And then later on, we found this letter obtained legally because you printed it out and threw it all over the building. So, Donald, if you want to throw up this letter, it says, Tyler, let's stick it to Robbie on Under a Rock this week since it's his birthday, even though he's much cooler than you and better than you at everything, including arts and crafts and the guitar. I don't know how the women don't want to go out with him. You have no friends. Show is called Bonanza. Be sure to pronounce it Buh and not Bo. It's not Bojangles. And they live on the Ponderosa. The family is named Cartwright. Signed, Producer Daryl. P.S. South Carolina is much better than Notre Dame. The end. That letter, you admitted that you cheated, and Daryl put this letter together, and you framed it all over the building. So you get a loss for last week.
Oh, no. That is not true,
That is true. And now we're going to play this week's version, Under a Rock or Tyler. Let's go.
Do you live your life up under a rock? Or are you Tyler Burnett?
Okay, so this week we're going to Arizona. This is Arizona theme. This gentleman is very famous.
No.
He is a musician. You should know who this is. So Donald, Daryl, let's cue it up. Let's play Under a Rock or Tyler.
Wow. Dude, I think I've guessed this guy before, but is it Alice Cooper? Yes! I think I guessed Alice Cooper when we had a girl one time, didn't I?
Yeah.
Joan Jett.
Joan Jett.
Oh, my.
Backfired. Ringo. So we only have one more Under a Rock this year. We'll put our best people on it next week.
So are you going to write another letter next week about me losing or winning?
No, because this was a legitimate win this week. All right, Ringo, bring him in.
What do we got here?
Well,
while he's doing that, since we're short on time here, I
Yeah.
told you about today's times. The Can-Am 500 second practice, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. 2 p.m. is final practice. Then the Ticket Galaxy 200, the NASCAR Xfinity Series, races tomorrow at 3 p.m. Sunday, our airtime is 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the Can-Am 500.
All right, Rango's picks for Phoenix are Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., Eric Jones, A.J. Allmendinger, Dale Earnhardt Jr. His winner is Kyle Busch, and his car make is Toyota.
And he has no Kevin Harvick on his team.
He has no Kevin Harvick on his team. I don't know if I like that or not. Who's your winner?
I think the chicken's on something.
I think the chicken might be.
My winner?
Yeah.
No, you can go first. There's two 18s there.
There's two 18s. I'm going to divide that by 9 and say Brad Keselowski.
Wow.
Even though I told a spotter, Joey Meyer, I would never pick the 2-car at Phoenix ever again, but I'm going to pick Brad Keselowski.
Wow.
Sorry, Joey. Sorry,
you
Brad.
guys are going to give it to me. I'll take Kevin Harvick then.
Okay.
Final thoughts.
I'm looking forward to Phoenix. I love this trip. I love this race.
You're looking forward to every race.
I'm looking forward to every race. I think you're going to have 5 guys Sunday who are literally going to go to Phoenix and throw everything at the wall, see what'll stick, and try to get to the championship board next week at Homestead.
If Kevin Harvick doesn't win, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Ryan Blaney wins.
I also like that pick.
You do?
Yeah, surprisingly.
Whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Next week, we're going to Homestead. I will not be in Homestead, but I will be on the show. Who should we have next week?
I don't know. I don't know. My dad, maybe. He's better at me than this.
Yeah, Kirk Mays had a good week. All right, the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show is done. We'll be back next week when we go to Homestead.
You've been listening to the Inside Line, presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MRN.com or the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, or download it through iTunes or Google Play. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.